Ang topic natin ngayon ay topic number 4, illustrating a probability for a discrete random variable. Bago tayo magsimula, let us first recall. Determine whether the statement is true or false. If the answer is false, you can modify the statement to make it true. So, mga statement natin, number 1, there are 4 outcomes if you toss 2 coins. True or false? Number 2, if you toss 3 coins, where x be the random variable, representing the number of tails that occur, the possible values of the random variable x are 0, 1, and 2. True or false? Number 3, the sum of 3/4 plus 1/2 is equal to 5/8. True or false? Number 4, the sum of 0.25 plus 0.06 plus 0.36 plus 0.28 is equal to 0.95. True or false? Number 5, if p of x is equal to x plus 1 all over 6, the value of p of 1 is 1/2. True or false? So upon looking the statement, let us see the answer. For number 1, ang sagot po natin ay true. For number 2, false. Because the possible values of the random variable x are 0, 1, 2, and 3. For number 3, it is also false. 3/4 plus 1/2 is equal to 5/4 or 1 1/4. For number 4, true. For number 5, false. If p of x is equal to x plus 1 over 6, the value of p of 1 is 1/3. Letter B. Recall natin how to determine the values of random variable by answering the given problem. Find the values of the random variable y, representing the number of green balls when 2 balls are drawn in succession without replacement. Ibig sabihin ng without replacement, hindi na natin ibabalik. So, pag kumuha tayo ng dalawang bola, pag kumuha tayo ng isa, hindi na natin siya ibabalik. And then, kukuha ulit tayo ng pangalawa. So, from a jar containing 4 red balls and 5 green balls. Solution. Una, determine natin yung sample space o yung lahat ng outcome na lalabas, possible outcome na lalabas kapag kumuha tayo ng dalawang bola. Let R represent the red ball and G represent the green ball. So, yung sample size or sample space ng ating experiment or yung mga outcomes na lalabas kapag kumuha tayo ng dalawang bola in succession, ang possible ay red-red or RR, possible din ng RG or red-green, o kaya green-red or GR. At ang huli, possible na dalawang green ang makuha natin. So, ito yung mga possible outcomes ng ating experiment. RR, RG, GR, at GG. Count the number of green balls in each outcome in the sample space kasi yun yung hinahanap natin. And assign the number to the outcome. So, mga possible outcome, yung kanina, RR, ang value ng random variable natin na y, which is yung y natin nagre-represent ng green ball. Dito sa RR, wala tayong green ball. So, 0 ang naging value ng random variable natin. Sumunod, RG, meron tayong isang green ball. Katulad ng GR din, meron ding isang green ball. At meron tayong dalawang green ball kapag ang outcome natin ay GG. So, 2 green balls yung nakuha natin doon. Ibig sabihin, yung mga value ng ating random variable y, which is nagre-represent ng bilang ng green ball, ay 0, 1, and 2. Let's get into the lesson now. Let us read and analyze the situation. In a computer laboratory, the teacher wants to find out if there is a defective computer. Suppose 3 computers were tested at random. She asked one of her computer system servicing students to list all the possible outcomes, such that ni-represent natin yung D for the defective computer and N represents the non-defective computer. Let X be the random variable for the number of defective computers based doon sa magiging possible outcomes. Then, illustrate the probability distribution of the random variable X. Based on the problem, let us observe, analyze, and answer the following questions. Number 1, or letter A, list the sample space in the given experiment. How many outcomes are possible? So dito sa letter A na to, titingnan natin yung mga outcomes na lalabas doon sa ating experiment. Letter B, construct a table showing the number of defective computers in each outcome and assign this number to this outcome. What is the value of the random variable X? So sa letter B natin, titingnan natin doon sa mga outcome natin sa letter A, yung mga number of defective computer na lumabas doon sa outcome. And that will be the value of the random variable X. Kasi sa una, sinabi ko, yung random variable X, nagre-represent siya ng number ng defective computers. For letter C, illustrate a probability distribution. What is the probability value or the P of X to each value of the random variable? So sa probability distribution, lalabas na yung mga probability value base sa value ng random variable na nakuha natin sa letter B. Letter D, what is the sum of the probabilities of all values of the random variable? So dito, isusolve natin yung total probabilities na nakuha natin. And then letter E, what do you notice about the probability of each value of the random variable? So titingnan natin yung value ng probability isa-isa, kung ano ang napapansin natin. Let us now answer. Let D represent the defective computer and N for non-defective computer. So ito yung mga lumabas sa ating experiment. For S, so ang mga lumabas natin dito ay N and D, ibig sabihin dalawa yung non-defective at isang defective. Lumabas din sa outcome natin or possible outcome natin, sa tatlong computer may isang non-defective, isang defective at isa pang non-defective. Pangatlong outcome natin, isang defective at dalawang non-defective or D and N. So meron din tayong D and D, DDN, NDD, DDD. Ibig sabihin, walang non-defective. So, lahat yun ay defective. At meron naman na tatlong computers na nakuha na kung saan ay lahat ay non-defective. So, we have 8 possible outcomes. For letter B, bibilangin natin yung number ng defective computer sa bawat outcome natin sa sample space. At lalagyan natin yan ng assigned number. For instance, kung meron tayong N and D, ibig sabihin may isa tayong defective computer. So, ito yung mga possible outcomes natin. N and D, D and D, D and N, hanggang sa N and N. So, kung bibilangin natin yung ating defective computer, na kung saan yun yung value ng random variable X natin, so sa una, N and D, ibig sabihin merong isa na defective computer. Sa pangalawa, meron ding isa. Sa pangatlo, meron ding isa. At kung mapapansin natin sa huli, DDD, merong tatlong defective computers. At sa dulo, NNN, ibig sabihin wala tayong nakuhang defective computer. So, ito ay 0. So, letter C natin, each of these numbers correspond to an event in the sample space of equally likely outcomes for this experiment. Ibig sabihin nito, kada isang outcome natin, this is an event of the sample space. So if each of the outcomes is equally likely to occur, then the probability is, ang formula po natin, P of E, or the probability of that event is equal to the number of outcomes in the event all over the number of outcomes in the sample space. Ito yung total outcome natin. Assign probability values P of X to each value of the random variable. Since the number of outcomes natin dito ay 8 or 8, the probability that 0 defective computer will come out is 1 out of 8. So sa 8 outcome natin, merong isa na event na kung saan ang lumabas ay 0 yung defective computer or walang defective computer na nakuha. So that is 1 out of 8 outcomes. So pag inilagay natin yan sa probability, that will become P of 0 is equal to 1 over 8 or 1 out of 8. So the probability that one defective computer will come out is 3 over 8 naman or 3 out of 8. So pag nilagay natin yan sa probability, that is P of 1 is equal to 3 over 8. The probability that 2 defective computers will come out is 3 over 8 also. So pag nilagay natin yan sa probability, P of 2 is equal to 3 over 8. So and so on and so forth. So illustrating that in the table, so kung mapapansin natin sa table natin, number of defective computer, ito yung random variable x natin, 0. So ang probability natin diyan or the P of x is 1 over 8. Or pwede natin yung gawing decimal. 1 divided by 8 is the same as 0.125. So kapag ang number of defective computer natin or ang x natin ay 1, ang probability niyan ay 3 over 8 or 0.375. So kapag 2 ang x natin, 3 over 8 din yan or 0.375. So kapag ang number of defective computer naman natin or ang x natin ay 3, ang probability niyan ay 1 over 8 or 0.125. Another table form or pwede rin natin isulat yung ating probability distribution ng ganitong way. So yung x natin nasa row 1, so x is 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then yung probability values niya nasa row 2, which is yung 0 natin, 1 over 8, yung 1, 3 over 8, and number 2 is 3 over 8, and then 3 is 1 over 8. Letter D, i-add natin lahat ng probabilities. So yung 1 over 8, i-add natin sa 3 over 8, plus 3 over 8, plus 1 over 8. So lahat yan ay 8 over 8. Remember, kapag nag-a-add tayo ng similar fraction, or yung pare-parehas ang denominator, ang i-add lang natin yung numerator. So 8 over 8 po ang kinalabasan, which is equal to 1 yan. Sa decimal naman, kung ang decimal yung ating i-add na probability natin, 0.125 plus 0.375 plus 0.125 plus 0.375 equal yan sa 1. So kahit fraction yung ginawa o kahit decimal, parehas yan na magiging sagot equal sa 1. So base sa ginawa natin, makakakuha tayo ng properties of discrete probability distribution. Ano ba ang properties ng discrete probability distribution? So yung number 1 property natin, the probability of each of the random variable must be between or equal to 0 and 1. In symbol, so our probability must be greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 1. So, ibig sabihin po nito, lahat ng probability natin dapat ay hindi lalampas sa 1. Dapat nasa pagitan ng 0 and 1 lamang ito. So, that is the value of each random variable probability. For number 2, the sum of all the probabilities of all values of the random variable must be equal to 1. In symbol, we write the summation of P of X is equal to 1. Ano ibig sabihin? Kapag inad daw natin lahat ng values ng probabilities natin sa ating random variable, dapat equal sa 1 siya. So, ito po yung properties ng ating discrete probability distribution. Let's try this. Determine whether the following can serve as the probability distribution of random variable x. Letter A. P of x is equal to 1 over 7 for x is equal to 1 up to 9. This means that the value of P of 1 hanggang value ng P of 9 ay 1 over 7. So, tingnan natin sa probability distribution table natin. So, x natin, or random variable x, is 1 up to 9. And then, yung probability ng x natin, kada isa ay 1 over 7. So, kung mapapansin natin yung value ng ating random variable, kada isa ay 1 over 7. And this value lies between 0 and 1. So, papasok siya sa unang property na kung saan yung value natin dapat ng probability ay nasa pagitan ng 0 and 1. But the sum of its probabilities is 9 over 7, which is not equal to 1. So, alam natin na kapag probability distribution property, pag inad natin yung probability values niya, dapat equal siya sa 1. But in this case, ang ating sum ay 9 over 7. So, this is actually 1 and 2 over 7 sa mixed fraction. So, lampas siya sa 1. Ibig sabihin, this is not a probability distribution because kahit yung values ng ating random variable probability ay between 0 and 1, but yung summation of P of X natin, hindi siya equal sa 1. So, this is not a probability distribution. Another one, please. Letter B. P of X is equal to 12 over 25x, where x is equal to 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, let us evaluate the probability of x given the value of x. So, for P of 1, or kung ang x natin ay 1, let us substitute that 1 to our probability. 12 over 25 times 1, ang magiging sagot natin ay 12 over 25, which is in decimal 0.48 siya. P of 2, that's 12 over 25 times 2, which is equal to 12 over 50. Sa decimal, yan ay 0.24. P of 3, that is 12 over 25 times 3, which is equal to 12 over 75, or 0.16. For P of 4, that's equal to 12 over 100, or in decimal, 0.12. So, illustrate natin yung result natin sa ating example, letter B, using decimal. So, ang random variable natin dito ay x, which is have the values of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, ang probability naman ng ating x sa 1 ay 0.48, sa 2 ay 0.24, sa 3 ay 0.16, at sa 4 ay 0.12. So, the probability of each value of the random variable lies 0 and 1. Ibig sabihin, hindi lumalampas sa 1 yung ating value ng probability. Or bawat probability value natin, or P of X natin, ay nasa pagitan ng 0 at 1. Ang sum ng probabilities natin ay equal sa 1. So, kung i-add natin ang ating values na 0.48, 0.24, 0.16 at 0.12, ang magiging sum nito ay 1, which is pasok siya sa property number 2 na ang summation ng probabilities ay 1. Therefore, this is a probability distribution. Ang ating pangalawang halimbawa ay probability distribution. This is the end of our topic. My reference, Pivot 4A Calabarzon Module, Statistics and Probability.